What is up, guys? So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down my results from the NFL this past weekend. I made over $10,000 profit, which puts me over $43,000 profit on the year betting on the NFL. Obviously, not every bet wins, but at this point, I've been seriously betting on the NFL for, probably 6 or 7 years now. I've made over 100 grand in tracked profit. And the point of this video is not just to, flex wins. The point of this video is to be more educational. I give out basically, like you can see here, a play from Twitter that ended up cashing. I give out basically all my plays 100% free on either Twitch stream or Twitter. The purpose of this video is to be educational, right? Teaching someone to fish as opposed to just giving them fish. I want to show you guys how I'm able to get these results with sharp data-driven strategies. Because again, I truly believe, most people shouldn't be gambling. Obviously most people lose money gambling long term. However, I do believe profitable sports betting is very accessible. If you put in the work to learn these sharp betting strategies, you can make a lot of money. So the first strategy that I love to use, it's the main strategy I use, it's the most profitable betting strategy I use, is called cross-market EV betting. So I have a full-length tutorial on it. I don't want to, recap every little bit of information, but basically all sports books set their own unique odds, and sometimes two books get so out of sync that an arbitrage opportunity exists. So arbitrage is just when two books have such different prices or odds that you can bet equal and opposite outcomes to guarantee a profit, to guarantee a win. So in this scenario, the Giants were plus 275 on Fliff, which is a sports book I use, and these sharp betting exchanges were just ripping towards them. The Chargers opened as much bigger favorites, and at this point, when I placed the bet, there was $12,000 in liquidity or amount being offered on these sharp betting exchanges like Novig and ProfitX on the Chargers at minus 273. So basically, you could bet the Chargers at minus 273 on Novig or the Giants at plus 275 on Fliff. One of these two bets has to be profitable, right? You can't have a team be plus 275 and their opponent be minus 273. The market is way too out of sync. So I thought the value was on the Fliff side, Giants plus 275. So that's the play that I locked in. Again, more liquidity on these sharp betting exchanges is a stronger indication of value. You can kind of consider it like the people setting lines and offering markets on these betting exchanges like ProfitX and Novig. In general, they're trading firms, right? They're really smart people setting these lines. So especially as you get close to game time, they have very, very, very tight markets. Very tight markets, very low juice, and they're a great data point for identifying value on soft or easy to beat sports books like Fliff, Hard Rock, FanDuel, books like that. But again, I have a full video. I recommend checking it out. Here you can see the thumbnail, cross-market EV betting. I'll link to it. Check it out. Trust me, this strategy will make you a ton of money sports betting. You have a very high confidence in your edge. So the second thing I wanted to cover is why did I include this in a parlay? Right? So there's a lot of misconceptions about parlays, right? There's a lot of people who say, oh, you can never make money betting on parlays, right? It's impossible to beat the sports books on parlays long term. And that's not true, right? The thing is most people lose money on their straight bets. A parlay is just a combination of bets. So if you lose money on your straight bets, like 97, 99% of sports bettors, a parlay is just a combination of bets. You're just stacking unprofitable bets on top of each other. Your ROI, that's why most sports bettors have a worse ROI on parlays compared to straight bets. They're just stacking unprofitable bets on top of each other. However, you can absolutely make money betting on parlays. I have a full tutorial here. I'll link to the video. If you want to get deep, nerdy into the math behind parlays, I definitely recommend checking out this video. But why did I bet a parlay is I actually ran the Giants straight. But the way this sportsbook works, Fliff, is they have a max betting amount for straight bets, but then you can play something again in a parlay once and get a higher betting limit. So they only gave me 250 on Giants money line as a straight bet at plus 275. So what I did is I paired this play, which I thought was very profitable, a bet with an edge, with another play that had an edge, Saints plus 14.5, whatever it was. Two bets now, two crossed markets. Both bets have a mathematical advantage. I'm stacking profitable bets on top of each other. So the parlay was plus EV, or the parlay had an edge. But the second strategy I use every single week is called arbitrage betting. Okay, this is an amazing strategy. I have a tutorial video on it here, and it is a way, I know it sounds maybe a little too good to be true, but it's a way to make risk-free, guaranteed profits off the sports books. And I realize that may sound a little too good to be true, but you can join this guy Arb Thief. He gives out free trainings on arbitrage betting. He does this for a living. But arbitrage is just when two books get so out of sync, right, that you can day trade them, bet the over on one book, the under on a different book to ensure a profit. And OddsJam has an arbitrage tool that updates literally millions of odds every single second to point out these rare few plays in the market. So the more books you have, the better when you're arbitrage betting. Because again, you're looking for discrepancies between books. You're always placing two bets. One bet will win, one bet will lose. So you can see in this play on Bo Nix, this arbitrage opportunity, or I apologize, Zach Ertz, this arbitrage opportunity made me $33 risk-free. I bet his over on one book, no vig, his under on a different book, rebet. And regardless of what happened, he could have 100 yards, 20 yards, he could get injured the first play. It didn't matter. Because these two books were so out of sync, I followed a hedge calculator. Regardless of the result, I was making $33 the second the game ended. And what's amazing about arbitrage betting is daily compounding. In general, you're betting on games that day. So I placed this bet at noon, whatever it was, 11 a.m., maybe something like that. This game was over by 3 p.m. and I have my money back plus a risk-free profit. So your bankroll can grow very quickly due to daily compounding. So let's say you place $1,000 in total arbitrage bets. Your arbitrage bets have an ROI of about 4%. That's $40 a day in risk-free profit. So your first day, your bankroll goes from $1,000 to $1,040, right? Then $1,080 if you're betting $1,000 a day. So over the course of a month, there's 30 days in a month. If you make $40 a day, right, even pretty easily, these arbitrage bets only take a few seconds to lock in. Your bankroll can grow really quickly. You can make thousands of dollars every single month in risk-free profit, which I realize is insane, but you can give it a try. Another thing I'll mention is this book, Novig, right, where one side of the arbitrage bet is amazing for arbitrage because they have no limits. These peer-to-peer betting exchanges, they're really hard to beat for, some betting strategies, but they're amazing for arbitrage because these books have no limits, right? You will never get limited. It is completely sustainable and you can bet very large amounts of money, even on player props, when typically traditional sports books where you're betting against the house, right? Most of these books, they're not gonna let you bet $1,000 on player props. So arbitrage betting is super profitable, but you're just not gonna be able to get down thousands of dollars on every single arbitrage play. The market isn't that liquid or that efficient. So these peer-to-peer betting exchanges, you can see this guy Arbitron, he's an OddsJam user. He's probably made just arbitrage betting exchanges, these no-limit books against each other. He's made hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit. So you can give him a follow, reach out, I guess, to him with any questions about how to maximize arbitrage profits on these exchanges because they are super exploitable. The next strategy I use, it's most profitable for the NFL, is called middle betting. So the same way all books set their own odds, they also set their own lines. So I'll just give you a simple example of a middle. Is on Jackson Smith, his line was 70.5 on Fliff, 81.5 on FanDuel, an 11-yard gap. So I bet the over 70.5 on Fliff, the under, right, 81.5 on FanDuel. You are day trading the sports books. And then if he falls in that range, right, you are going to win both bets, which is exactly what happened. I gave this play out on Twitter for free. He had 79 yards exactly. So I won my under and I won my over. Like so many people, so many sports bettors, they just talk about, I'm betting the over for Mahomes. But what's really important is what line did you get for Mahomes? I think we all agree that getting Mahomes over 100 passing yards would be a great bet, right? In most weeks, almost every single week, Mahomes over 100 yards at plus 100 odds would be a great bet. But obviously over 1,000 yards, we'd never bet that at plus 100 odds. So everything boils down to what line are you getting? So the final strategy that actually made me most of my profits this week is called Sharp DFS. So again, there's these fixed payout fantasy sites. I use 6 of them. Owner's Box, Better Picks, Dabble, Underdog, DraftKings Pick 6, and Prize Picks. And the way these sites work is you take a player to go over or under, it doesn't matter. You get the same payout. So on DraftKings Pick 6, I ran Bijan Robinson's under 17.5 rushing attempts in this slip that ended up cashing. But you can see, right, on DraftKings, Pick 6, if we take Bijan to go over or under, we're getting the same payout regardless. The sharp betting exchanges like Novig had Bijan's over listed at plus 126 odds, right? So even though they only had a one-way market, they were offering Bijan's over at plus 126. So we know that the under, Bijan's under, Novig is saying that's the more likely, that's the favored outcome, and it's a pretty big favorite. It was also a crossed market. When you go through the math behind DraftKings Pick 6, they're giving you minus 122 odds for any pick on the board, and plus 126 on his over, minus 122 on the under. That would be a cross market. So I've had a ton of success on these fixed payout DFS platforms. Some of them have cut down my max bet size at this point, like Underdog. I can only bet $75 a day after I made 100 grand off them, which obviously sucks, but it kind of is what it is. Anyways, that's really all I got. A little recap of how I'm finding my bets, the results I'm getting. And again, not every weekend is a winning day, right? Like I lost money on college football, a few $1,000. I made 10 grand on the NFL. I have a very long-term focus. Even in my best month sports betting, like you can see in August, I made over 50 grand. I still had a bunch of days where I lost a lot of money. So depending on the strategy you're using, right, you are going to have variance. So, I try to keep a long-term focus, and I think that's really important as a sports bettor. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for your time. Comment any questions, let me know other video ideas, and appreciate you guys.